Days are expected to be coming up on this Saturday as well as the 28th, but we also know Friday, which is just outside of our 10-day.
Coming up on KTTC News at noon, we continue to count down to the 70th Eagles Cancer Telethon. Plus, Iowa hospitals are putting out a desperate call for help, how you can get involved in just a bit. Plus, if you haven't enrolled for healthcare yet, don't worry, there's still time. We have what you need to know up ahead. Your news at noon starts right now.
Live from your local news leader, this is KTTC News.
Good afternoon, I'm Zach Fuller in for Jess. First at noon, an update on the Salvation Army red kettle stolen from Rochester Monday evening. Rochester police have released 2 suspect photos in connection to the crime. The photos from Apache Mall show a woman in a white coat with a white hat and a man in a black hooded coat and hat. The Salvation Army says security footage shows this couple approaching the kettle near the Apache Mall entrance when no one was there. Apache Mall security and Rochester police continue to investigate. If anyone has any information, you are asked to reach out to the Rochester Police Department. Well, residents in Austin will see an increase in their utility bills. The Austin Utilities Board of Commissioners approved the 2024 budget and related rate adjustment at the December board meeting. Costs of providing energy continues to rise for Austin residents. You can expect to see a 2 to 4% increase in electricity rates, averaging $1.78 per month. Water rates will increase by 4.5% for customers, increasing about $1.20. There will be no increase in natural gas rates. Well, tomorrow marks 1 year since tragedy struck the small town of Spring Grove. A fire broke out in the apartments above the downtown hardware store. 11 people were displaced, and what used to be a booming business is no longer. Our Olivia Pronzinski visited Spring Grove to get an update on the town's recovery.
The page came in mid-afternoon on December 22nd to the Spring Grove Fire Department. One of Spring Grove Fire Department's worst nightmares came true.
It was one of them nights where it happened and you don't forget it.
A fire ravaged through Spring Grove's downtown, and temperatures below zero didn't help as crucial equipment failed, according to Fire Chief Trent Turner.
The what if question got answered that night. What if there's ever a fire downtown? What do we do? You know, with being on Main Street like it is, the buildings all being so close to each other.
Turner says the loss was hard on the department. The loss of the hardware store was also difficult on the rest of Spring Grove.
You never realize how often you stop by your local hardware store until it's gone. And many businesses stopped in daily, and they don't have that option anymore, so they have to go to neighboring towns to get their supplies.
But according to City Administrator Jana Elton, a bad thing has turned good.
Since the fire last year, there's been a ton of people behind the scenes working together to try and figure out a way to rebuild our downtown. We found ourselves up at the state capitol, and we were able to get some grants to try and help the cleanup process down here, which is still underway. We have state funding to help our developers try and redevelop this area.
The new investor, Howard Dieters, actually has ties to the original investor of the old hardware store. Him, along with others, part of the Spring Grove Real Estate Investment Fund, plan to rebuild a hardware store with apartments above.
Right now, the toughest part is trying to put the financials together, projections that would make it work.
While there is still much work to be done and no timeline in place, the city plans on tearing down the surrounding buildings that suffered damage. Fire Chief Turner also says the fire has made all of the surrounding departments work better together. Well, taking things outside now, Ted joins us live from the weather patio. And Ted, we've been in such a nice stretch of weather here.
We have been, Zach. It's been bright and sunny all week, even when it was kind of windy early this week. Temperatures were pretty reasonable for December standards. Today, not a lot of wind, but no sunshine at all. But despite all of those changes, it's still looking like a pretty decent December day. Here we are just a few hours away from the official start of astronomical winter, the winter solstice. That's at 9:37 this evening. Really not a bad day. Here's the current view from our Louis Dodauto live camera. That's from Assisi Heights, 37 Temperature right now here at the studio, it feels like 33. The wind's 6 miles per hour from the southeast. Across the map, mainly mid and upper 30s. Incredibly mild for this time of the year, to say the least. A typical high is 26. We wouldn't even be there normally by this point in the day on a typical day, but we're way beyond that. 36 at the airport in Rochester, 37 in Mason City, and 39 in Owatonna. Clouds in place, no rain in sight though. Not yet. We'll see some drizzle perhaps tonight. A bit of rain tomorrow, though, and more rain over the weekend. Weather Almanac, the typical high at this time of the year is 26. The sunset coming up at 4:35. One of the last times I'll have sunset quite that early. Things will get better in the coming days, in a few days anyway. Forecast today, a high of 40. The cool southeast breeze next few days will be gray, but actually warmer, and in some cases a little wetter, though. We'll have the latest on some of those rain chances coming up in our forecast in a few minutes, Zach.
All right, Ted, thank you very much. Looking forward to that.
Okay.
Well, migrants continue to make their way to the border in Texas. This comes as Texas Governor Greg Abbott chartered a plane to fly migrants from his state to Chicago, marking an escalation after months of having bused migrants to Democratic-run cities to protest President Joe Biden's border policies. NBC's Squad Venegas has the details from Eagle Pass.
The surge continues at the southern border here in Eagle Pass next to the International Bridge. We still have a field being used by Customs and Border Protection to have migrants that are arriving wait because authorities here are so overwhelmed with the processing that they have no place for them to be while they take them on buses and take them to the processing centers. This field has been used all week. Many of them sleeping. You can see them with the Mylar aluminum blankets that keep them warm overnight, arriving all throughout the day for the last few days, and some even this morning lining up. Over at the far end towards Mexico, we can see some of them lined up ready to come into the field where they will have to wait, some for more than a day, until at some point Customs and Border Protection will line them up, as you can see over on the right-hand side, and then take them under the bridge. That's the last area where they wait. And then from that area under the bridge, they will be loaded onto buses or to vans and then eventually taken to a processing center. Now, this is here in Eagle Pass. We know that the surge is also happening in other parts of the border in Arizona. Parts of California have also seen a large increase, and this is the reason why resources are spread thin. We know that the railroad bridge here has also been shut down. Trains are halted coming from Mexico into the U.S. here and in El Paso. That because some of the officers that have to work the bridge are helping doing the processing with a lot of these migrants. Now this, as we learned that Governor Greg Abbott is now chartering planes. Yesterday an airplane landed in Chicago carrying migrants from Texas. So this is in addition to the buses that are being used to send migrants to other states. Now Texas also chartering planes. That is the latest from the border here in Eagle Pass, Texas. Back to you.
Well, for those who missed the December deadline to enroll in health care, don't you worry. You still have until January 16th to get coverage for 2024. White House officials tell us that a record number of Americans, 19 million, have already signed up. To do so, you can visit healthcare.gov. There are a variety of coverage options. This year, Medicare and Medicaid recipients are eligible for free vaccines and $35 monthly insulin. White House advisor Neera Tanden says affordable health care is essential to upward mobility.
It means that people actually keep their jobs. They get out of poverty when they have health insurance. Health insurance is actually a critical component of the entire safety net.
Medicare and Medicaid are hot topics on the campaign trail this year. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump has vowed to replace the whole system if he is elected. Well, during the busy holiday season, donating blood may not be at the top of our to-do list. According to University of Iowa hospitals and clinics, 1 out of every 7 hospital visitors needs blood, but donations can be slower during the winter months. This hospital is asking people to give the gift of blood this holiday season.
Winter is often a difficult time to find blood donors due to winter weather events, illness, busy schedules due to the holidays. And since there's no substitute for human blood, we really rely on a steady stream of donors all winter long.
The hospital especially needs Group O whole blood. The center provides 27,000 blood products to patients at UIHC, as well as the Stead Family Children's Hospital each year. Well, the 70th annual KTTC Eagles Cancer Telethon will be here before we know it. All the money raised stays right here in Minnesota. We hope you'll join us on January 13th and 14th as we raise hope and awareness for cancer research. We certainly have much more about the telethon on our website, kttc.com. The holidays can be such a fun time for everyone, especially pets, but we have some tips on keeping your pets safe this holiday season. Plus, a Rochester hotel is making its shuttle rides a bit jollier this holiday season. I'll tell you about it after this. A Rochester hotel is making its shuttle rides a bit jollier this holiday season. Centerstone Plaza Hotel has completely decked out its free downtown shuttle service for its guests in a Christmas theme. There's tinsel, window stickers, and holiday music playing, along with Santa hats draped over the seats. It started when shuttle driver Matt Brightigan had the idea to use some spare Christmas decorations for the shuttle. He says it's been a hit with the guests, the majority of whom are here to get care at Mayo Clinic.
I know a lot of people are away from home for the holidays, and so we were just trying to be a little bit more festive and make their lives a little bit more bright for while they're here at the Mayo Clinic.
The Christmas-themed rides will continue until Christmas Day, with plans already in place to bring it back next year. And other festive tidbits from the hotel: Santa actually rests his head at the hotel between his visits to the Ronald McDonald House and Mayo Clinic, and he gets a ride on the shuttle when his reindeer are resting. And the holidays means guests, food, and holiday decorations. While these things bring us joy, they can also cause stress and maybe even harm to pets. That's why local experts are warning pet owners now of potential hazards for the holiday season. With party planning comes more of the food, decorations, and especially people in our homes. Experts say all three of these things could be a hazard to your four-legged family member. One vet says she sees more cases of food poisoning this time of the year, especially from chocolates. In order to prevent animals from getting into food that they should not be in, she says to make sure it's stored properly away from both dogs and cats. Pets can also ingest holiday decor and risk serious illness.
Anything shiny, tinsel, stuff like that, that can cause obstructions and really bad, upsets and stuff. So making sure that if you have animals, just don't put it out. I know it's really pretty, or put it up higher than you think that the animal can go.
It can also be a stressful time of year for some pets. If an animal gets anxiety around big groups of people, experts suggest to put them in a separate room. Another tip they offered was to be prepared for the loud noises that can come with New Year's Eve, like fireworks. Well, your midday markets right after a quick check with Ted.
Clouds have moved in. Temperatures, though, still pretty mild for this time of the year. We do have some unsettled weather ahead of us. That means a bit of rain for the holiday weekend. The latest in your 7-day forecast is coming up after our Thursday market report.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Well, welcome back. And as you just heard, Ted, you're with us now. And, we've really been in this great stretch of weather as we were talking about earlier.
It's been nice. I mean, earlier this week, it was a little windy, but we were doing okay with that. We had the sun. We've had progressively warmer weather each day. Yesterday, a high of 42. Today, we'll be in the 40-degree range again. But right now, we're dealing with the gloom of late December. This is what we typically see this time of the year. This is a part of the year is known for this kind of weather, and that is gray weather. The difference, though, versus what would be typical is the warmth. We are in the 30s now, about 10 degrees warmer than the seasonal average. Here's the look outside, the current view from some of our Lewiston Auto Live cameras. A lot of clouds around. We'll stick with that gray picture today, and really, that is going to be the story moving forward throughout the holiday weekend. Above average temperatures a lot of cloud cover. 36 right now in Rochester. It's 39 in Albert Lea. Mesa City 38, Cresco, Iowa 36, on our way to about 40 later on. Southeast winds 13 miles per hour, feels like 28. Air pressure is falling. We're tracking a storm system brewing to the southwest right now, right off the coast of California. It's going to work its way across the Four Corners region, eventually moving up into the upper Mississippi Valley. And for us, that means rain. It's going to deliver some rain, also pulling a lot of warmth. We're going to keep that temperature on the high end of the temperature scale, in fact, beyond that. And we are looking at record potential of temperatures over the holiday weekend. Tonight, don't forget the winter solstice starts at 9:37, so technically tomorrow will be a couple of seconds more daylight than today. It's not noticeable at first. It'll be days before we have much of a change, but days will get longer. The length of daylight gets longer. Some shower chances tomorrow, more widespread rain Sunday and Monday. Also over the holiday weekend, temperatures at least 20 to 25 degrees above the climate average. Future track today, gray skies, cool breeze, temperatures on their way to about 40. A couple of spots of drizzle will be possible this evening and tonight, and also some fog developing, extra moisture in the atmosphere. And then tomorrow, isolated showers, especially morning and early afternoon. One storm system grazes us to the south. Dries things out tomorrow night, and Saturday offers a chance, maybe a few peeks at the sun. Temperatures on Saturday close to 50. That'll be a record maybe for that day, and Sunday another chance for a record high. More rain though on Sunday. In fact, widespread rain, isolated showers Monday and Tuesday. Rain, but not snow. And looking at some of the records we're tracking, temperatures close to 50 for highs on Saturday and Sunday. Those would be records, and overnight lows around 40. Those two would be records Saturday night and Sunday night. Way above average and record territory for all those. Santa ready to jump into town this Sunday night. Temperatures way above average, 40s, even low 50s. Even next week, the coldest temperature in the next 7 days, barely shy of 40. 40 today, though, mostly cloudy, mild southeast winds. 10 to 15 miles per hour. Areas of fog and some drizzle tonight. 35, a light southeast wind and light winds. Some isolated showers tomorrow. 46 for your Friday. And it gets even warmer from there. Zach, look for temperatures upper 40s to low 50s over the weekend. A rainy, damp Christmas. And some sunshine maybe late next week as we get close to the beginning of the new year. But in the meantime, hard to imagine just to grasp what kind of spell of warmth we're facing here in the next several days. That is way above average and for a long time.
Yeah, it really is. And even I saw this morning something that last year at this time we had a lot of snow on the ground, a lot of people getting ready to travel, and the roads were a mess. I feel like, for me, when I traveled back home, flying wise, I was worried about getting out of here.
Right.
So
well, that's the silver lining. Some people are upset about the lack of snow, but you have to be happy about the good travel conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially Santa coming in Sunday night for sure.
That's true.
Thank you very much, Ted. Well, a group of senior citizens at a retirement community are giving back. We're going to take a look at their amazing creations coming up right after this. A group of senior citizens at a retirement community in Minneapolis are doing their parts to give back. They knitted scarves for second graders at a local elementary school. Sharon Yu reports.
Around a table at Kenwood Senior Living.
They had needles and wool ready.
Spools of stories unraveled.
The teacher showed us how to put the first stitch on.
Whether it was by necessity.
And then we knit in school in Canada during the Second World War. We were knitting blocks to make Africans for the soldiers' hospitals in Britain.
The first craft I ever learned was how to knit, and it was my neighbor.
Or a hobby.
And she showed me how.
Nimble hands are the common thread for a cause warm and fuzzy.
I did knit a scarf for the second graders. We all knit them, and then our leader, Mary Ann, went and visited them.
The joy of a hand-knit scarf palpable in the words they got back.
As the little boy said, I love my scarf, and it keeps me warm, and it's my favorite. I think he just said this. It's my favorite color. Isn't that cute? And it probably wasn't, but so what?
A priceless laugh in exchange for a priceless craft.
Keep your hands busy and keep your memory, good. It's good for you.
Not to mention the camaraderie.
But I like doing things, with people and for people.
See, in, over, through, off.
Steady as the rhythm of a standard stitch is the heartbeat of this caring community.
Look at that. It's done.
What a great story that is, that's for sure. Well, hey, here's Howard with what's next in the kitchen.
With all the company that's probably going to stop by over the next few weeks, we've got just the thing to keep them happy and you at ease. Starting now and right through the new year, if you're planning on having friends and family over, you're probably thinking, what can I put out for them to nibble on that's easy, that will fill them up, and that everyone will love? The answer is simple. Let me show you. We start by combining some refrigerated spinach dip along with some diced pimentos, a good amount of canned artichokes that we've chopped, a couple of cups of shredded cooked chicken, a rotisserie chicken works great for this, garlic powder, and to make this cheesy delicious, a handful of shredded mozzarella. Once this is mixed, we spoon it onto refrigerated crescent roll dough that we laid out on a pizza pan so it looks like the sun. After spooning on the filling, we fold the tip of each piece of dough over it and tuck in the ends. Once we finish this up, we pop it in the oven, and in less than 30 minutes, it's done. I can assure you, by this point, your company will be dying to dig into it. Between the flaky golden crust, the piping hot filling, and the fact that it looks like a wreath, what's not to love? To get the recipe for our spinach artichoke crescent ring, all you have to do is go to our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an easy last-minute way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Cheesy, delicious.
Certainly looks good indeed. Well, let's take it back outside. Our Ted Schmidt joins us once again from the weather patio. Ted, how's it going out there today?
It's actually going really well, Zach. This is about all you could hope for this time of the year for weather. I mean, it's not sunny today, but it's not windy, and it's above freezing, and the wind chill itself within the confines of the weather patio, or in fact, just about the freezing mark. It is strangely mild and really not something to complain about. Here's the current scene from downtown Rochester. That is live with our Lewiston Auto camera. Gray skies. It's 38 here at the studio. It feels like 33, just a hint of a southeast breeze. And the air pressure is steady right now. Temperatures across the map, a lot of 30s. Keeping in mind that 26 would be the average high temperature. Anything in the 30s for a high would be fantastic. But we are at this hour in the 30s, likely to reach 40 later today, and that's the beginning of a whole stretch of 40-degree highs that will carry us into the holiday weekend. 36 right now in Rochester at the airport, Mesa City 38, and Owatonna 39. A lot of clouds, no rain so far, but there may be some drizzle developing later tonight and some light showers for part of tomorrow, even more over the weekend. Weather outlook for today, a high of 40, a lot of clouds, not much of a breeze. Temperatures tonight staying above freezing in the 30s. Ted's Trivia. Which department store distributed the booklet that first featured the beloved Christmas character Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? It came out of one of those booklets, came from one of those 4 places listed below, and we'll have that answer in just a few minutes, Zach.
All right, I'll certainly have to think about it. Some of those I don't even recognize, so thank you very much, Ted.
Okay.
But first, here's a look at one of the stories you can see on on KTTC just after us on Investigate TV Plus.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, teens placing illegal wagers and losing big.
It was tough to lose that much money.
An in-depth look at student betting and the efforts to stop it.
General Mills has reported sales were weaker than expected in the second quarter. The Minnesota-based company blamed softening demand for snacks and breakfast food, but some analysts say the real problem is the company raised prices too aggressively. That made consumers turn to competing brands that are cheaper. General Mills is lowering its sales expectations for next year. And a look at an area of man's collection of toy farm equipment. John Adamson has been collecting toy tractors for the past couple decades. He now has around 300 lining the walls of his house. He grew up near Byron and says the tractors remind him of fond memories on the farm. He showed off his collection with Cami Raisler on Midwest Access.
You have hundreds of tractors and pieces of equipment, toys here that you collect, and they are in your home displayed proudly.
Right, and it's taken me, I started this collection back in 2003, And I didn't live here at the time. I lived in a different apartment building. But since I moved here, it's really gone off. And as you can see in the background, so many shelves, I measured the width of every shelf where everything was going to go in place.
Certainly quite the collection indeed. We have the full story and the full segment from Midwest Access on our website. Just go to kttc.com, and in the top bar you can click on the Midwest Access tab. The mystery behind how lead made its way into some kids' applesauce pouches is being uncovered. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. We now know the source of lead contamination in recalled applesauce pouches. U.S. food inspectors report finding extremely high levels of lead in cinnamon at a plant in Ecuador. They say the plant made applesauce pouches tainted with the metal. Now, the FDA says the recalled pouches have been linked to dozens of illnesses in U.S. kids. The agency saying it is still looking into whether the contaminated cinnamon was used in other products that have come into the U.S. Food giant General Mills is cutting its annual sales forecast. The company says it's seeing slowing demand for higher priced breakfast cereals, snack bars, and pet food products. Leaders also point to higher interest rates and inflation, adding it's prompting consumers to opt for cheaper private label alternatives. Heading to a real Christmas tree farm is a tradition for many families, but according to a survey from the American Christmas Tree Association, 77% of Americans opt for an artificial one. The shift to so-called fake trees has been steady since the mid-90s and spiked back in 2021. According to the Real Christmas Tree Board, Oregon is the country's top producer of natural Christmas trees, but between 2005 and 2020, the total number of tree farms in Oregon plummeted from nearly 1,600 to just under 500. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or anytime at agweb.com.
Here's your first alert weather with meteorologist Ted Schmidt.
Our spell of sunny weather is over. Clouds have taken over, and it looks like they're going to hang around for quite some time. Here's a current view from our Louis Dodauto camera in Rochester from Assisi Heights. Right now it's 36 in Rochester. Austin now at 39. Mason City 38 degrees, and Owatonna 39. So everybody's above freezing and everybody's way above the seasonal average. Keeping in mind something in the mid-20s would be more typical for this time of the year. And here we are about 10 degrees warmer than that, and it's just now noon. Give it a few more hours. We'll be closer to 40, and we'll spend the next almost solid week in the 40s or warmer. Hard to imagine the spell of warmth that's upon us, and it's without very much sunshine. Today, clouds. Coming days will feature clouds as well. Right now it feels like 28. Winds from the southeast at 13 miles per hour. Tracking a storm system brewing in the Pacific. Here it is, taking aim at the area. In the next couple of days, it'll arrive just in time for Christmas Eve, bringing us some rain ahead of it. One wave of low pressure is spreading clouds across the map, drawing in warmth. So despite the lack of sunshine, a mild day, and eventually it'll be unsettled with a chance of maybe some drizzle tonight, maybe some rain tomorrow. Solstice, of course, 9:37 tonight. That's when winter officially begins, or astronomical winter. Of course, in weather, we go by climatology, and we've been in meteorological winter since December 1st. Mild with some rain and very un-winter-like Friday with rain chances mid-40s, and it gets even warmer from there for the rest of the holiday weekend with upper 40s and low 50s from Saturday through Monday. So hardly your typical Christmas outlook, but good travel conditions though. Future track, gray skies, a couple of spots of drizzle try to form. It looks like that'll happen mainly during the evening though, and overnight hours tonight. Tomorrow, isolated rain showers, very sparse activity at first, maybe a round or two of rain mid part of the day, tapering off around 3 in the afternoon, and then drying out for tomorrow night and Saturday before that larger system from the Pacific comes in on Sunday. So breaks of sunshine on Saturday, temperatures in the upper 40s and low 50s. Even warmer on Sunday. Chance of rain Sunday. That'll be the wettest and warmest day of the next several days. Rain chances continue into Monday and Tuesday before that weekend storm system moves out. Looking at rainfall potential, up to an inch or more of rainfall in the next 5 days across the map. That's quite a bit of rain for this time of the year, but we are below average by 5 inches for the year, so we could use the rain. Speaking of big numbers, we're looking at record high temperature potential Saturday, Sunday, close to 50. Overnight lows records right around 40 for Saturday night and Sunday night. So the days that come this weekend looking incredibly warm for this time of the year, to say the least. Way above average. Typically, we would be in the 20s, and we'll be in the 40s and low 50s instead for about the next 6 or 7 days. Mostly cloudy today, 40, a mild day. Southeast winds around 10 or 12 miles per hour. Fog and drizzle tonight, cloudy, 35, and a light southeast wind. And tomorrow, a couple of isolated showers. 46 south winds on the light side, 5 to 10 miles per hour. 7-day forecast close to 50 this weekend. Even a wet Christmas Day. Not as much rain there, but Sunday looks to be the warmest and wettest. And then some sunshine late next week. We may go 5 or 6 days without any sunshine, Zach. Ted's Trivia. Which department store distributed the booklet that first featured the beloved Christmas character Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
You know, I'm going to go with C. I'm going with Sears.
It's actually Montgomery Ward.
I would have, I had a feeling it could have been that because it was obscure.
It's been a long time. Do you not remember?
No.
They closed right after 2000. Early 2000s,
okay.
maybe.
No, I don't know. My dad might know if we had some, but yeah, I'm not sure if we ever had
one here in
them.
Rochester.
Oh, well, if I was here, I would have known that then. Thank you very much, Ted. Well, a federal judge has blocked a California concealed carry law. Plus, an investigation into allegations of plagiarism has been launched. Details after this. Today, we are in the thick of the Christmas travel rush. 115 million Americans on the move, on the roads or in the air, the most since 2019. While the weather is mostly cooperating, we do have some trouble spots out west. NBC's Tom Costello is watching the nation's skies from Reagan Washington National Airport.
Yeah, good day. Boy, this is really a pretty good day to fly. We have been watching very closely the weather out on the West Coast. We've had significant rain, of course, in the LA area as well as Santa Barbara, and then significant low clouds and ceilings in San Francisco. That really has been the reason we've had some delays and cancellations, but really very few. Only about 50 or so cancellations nationwide on what is the busiest pre-Christmas air travel day of the week, with about 49,000 flights between commercial and general aviation. The TSA expecting about 2.5 million people will be moving through TSA checkpoints today. Again, this will be one of the busiest, if not the busiest, into Christmas itself. On the roads, we're expecting about 104 million people to be driving over the course of the extended period. And right now, gasoline is averaging about $3.09 to 12 cents a gallon nationally. Now that is down from about $3.29 a gallon a month ago, so a bit cheaper than it was just a month ago, and yet this is how most people are going to be getting around. Back here at the airports, if you are traveling, boy, you picked a great day to fly. It's a non-event in terms of the weather, except for the West Coast, and the next few days are looking pretty good in terms of air travel. So get to the airport early, though, because the TSA lines are still pretty long. Back to you.
Well, Toyota is recalling about 1 million vehicles over a potential problem with the passenger airbag. The recall covers 15 Toyota and Lexus models, including the Camry, Sienna, and RAV4, as well as Lexus RX 350 and ES 350. The model years are between 2020 and 2022. Toyota says the occupant classification system sensor in the recalled vehicles could short circuit. The sensor helps identify whether the person sitting in the front passenger seat is an adult or a child based on the weight. Toyota says as a result of the possible glitch, the airbag may not deploy in certain kinds of crashes when it should. Toyota will notify owners of the recalled vehicles by the middle of February. Well, sales of emergency contraception in the U.S. may surge following New Year's celebrations. A new study published Wednesday in the journal The BMJ found the trend has occurred over the past several years, with sales spiking by 10% in the new year. New Year's Eve gatherings are often associated with increased sexual activity and sexual assault and decreased access to and use of contraception. The study found that Valentine's Day and Independence Day were also associated with more sales, but to a lesser extent. The authors and an outside expert CNN spoke with noted that this year the spike in sales seen in previous years could be affected by the 2022 overturning of Roe v. Wade, which had protected the right to have an abortion. In national headlines, the House committee is investigating allegations of plagiarism against Harvard's president. In a letter sent to the university, the Republican-led Education and Workforce Committee says it's looking into Claudine Gay's record over a period of 24 years. The allegations were first circulated by conservative activists following Gay's congressional testimony about anti-Semitism on campus. Last week, she submitted corrections to 2 scholarly articles published in 2001 and 2017. But according to a CNN analysis of her writings, Gay did not address even clearer examples of plagiarism while she was studying for her PhD at Harvard in the 1990s. Those include an instance in her dissertation where she copied lines verbatim from another source without citation. In addressing the allegations of plagiarism last week, neither Harvard nor Gay have corrected or acknowledged these earlier instances from when she was a student. Well, there are signs Hamas could be getting more powerful. U.S. intelligence agencies are warning Hamas credibility and influence has grown dramatically in the last 2 months since its October 7th terror attack on Israel. Intelligence officials say the group has successfully positioned itself across some parts of the Arab and Muslim world as a defender of the Palestinian cause and an effective fighter against Israel. Hamas propaganda videos casting the group as highly moral fighters who follow the teachings of Islam have gone viral on Arab social media, as well as images of Gaza civilians suffering. Various intelligence assessments warn the bombardment may serve only to inspire more terrorism there and abroad. A federal judge blocked a California law that would restrict the concealed carry of a gun in certain sensitive places across the state. Those sensitive places include parks, sporting venues, and educational institutions. On Wednesday, a ruling, the judge said that the provisions of the bill were being challenged by gun rights groups unconstitutionally deprives concealed carry holders from their rights to carry a handgun. Plaintiffs in the challenge include the California Rifle and the Pistol Association and Gun Owners of America. In a statement, California Governor Gavin Newsom said the compliance and the ruling defies common sense. In the meantime, the state's attorney general plans to appeal the federal judge's decision. Well, we're just minutes away from Investigate TV Plus. Here's a look at one of the stories you can see shortly.
Today on Investigate TV Plus, big bets and even bigger losses.
An in-depth look at teens gaming the system underground and the efforts to stop it.
A painting jointly made by all 4 Beatles could get up to $600,000 at auction. Christie's is putting the work, titled Images of a Woman, up for sale on February 1st. The piece was created in Tokyo in the summer of 1966. All 4 members worked on the piece while holed up at a hotel in between shows. A representative from Christie's said both John Lennon and Paul McCartney worked primarily in acrylic, while George Harrison and Ringo Starr relied more on watercolor. The painting is believed by some experts to be the only artwork jointly made and signed by the Beatles. Look at that. That's certainly interesting. I guess that's one way to pass the time, is just draw a painting. And
there you go.
Now it's going to get a ton of money at auction.
I'm surprised it's not a bigger number than that.
Considering
the only piece of artwork for those 4 and it's autographed, and I can't even imagine. I would think it'd be in the million something figure.
I would agree. Maybe more time, and I'm sure it'll probably get up into the millions.
Right.
Yeah, certainly an interesting one. But we've been talking about it this whole time. It's been a mild stretch, and it's just only going to get milder.
It is. I don't know if they call this $1 million forecast. Some people might. If you're traveling, you have to be happy, I think, with what we have ahead of us, the weather to come, because it looks fairly quiet. 40 today, mostly cloudy, a fairly light breeze. Rain chances a little bit tomorrow, more widespread rain Sunday, and Monday very warm throughout the holiday weekend.
Yeah, very warm indeed. Well, thank you very much, Ted. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 4 o'clock from Midwest Access. Have a good afternoon.